Good evening and welcome to Progressive Matters, the show where it's our mission to empower you with the information you need to engage in conversations that matter. Tonight we will be covering the turmoil of Republican leadership and how it's failing the American people. From the chaos surrounding the Speaker of the House to the influence of four-time indicted, twice impeached former President Donald Trump. So let's start by addressing the alarming situation unfolding in Washington. A House of Representatives left without a speaker, leaving the chamber paralyzed and the American people in limbo.
The unprecedented vote to vacate the chair leaves the House of Representatives in a state of chaos and at a standstill. Interim Speaker Patrick McHenry of North Carolina, upset at the far-right faction of his own party, sent lawmakers home to cool off, with only about 6 weeks to prevent a government shutdown. Members will return to the Capitol on Tuesday with an expected vote for the next speaker taking place the following day.
It's a leadership void that has consequences, and the blame falls squarely on the shoulders of the Republican Party and the dysfunction its members have created. With Representative Patrick McHenry temporarily occupying the role of Speaker of the House, the lights stay on, but legislation will remain stalled. So what does this mean for ordinary Americans? Well, that depends on how long this dramedy goes on, and which of the clowns gets the chance to run the circus next. You see, Congress faces immediate challenges from keeping the government open to addressing the Ukraine war crisis, and temporary funding ends November 17th. The next speaker must negotiate with both parties to secure a deal to reach a consensus on a full year's budget. The Republican Party's internal strife has left the American people in an unacceptable position, putting at risk millions of federal employees, contractors, and service members who face potential furloughs and delayed paychecks.
It's estimated that 2.1 million federal workers could see delayed paychecks, and roughly 4 million may not be getting paid at all.
There's nothing to pay them, right? There is no funding. Without a spending bill, without a budget, there is no funding.
Representative Kevin McCarthy's tenure as Speaker was marked by turmoil. It culminated in these 8 Republicans breaking with the party to oust him over grievances, including his compromises with Democrats and his handling of the nation's debt limit. Furthermore, McCarthy's initiation of an impeachment inquiry against President Biden, which Republican witnesses have agreed they have no evidence to prosecute him with.
I do not believe that the current evidence would support articles of impeachment. That is something that an inquiry has to establish.
I am not here today to even suggest that there was corruption, fraud, or any wrongdoing. In my opinion, more information needs to be gathered and assessed before I would make such an assessment.
Helped to solidify Democrats in voting him out of the Speaker's position, showing that at least one half of the aisle is still capable of functioning with a sense of purpose. Now, many House Republicans still supported him, but the fractures within the party are irreparable. The Republican Party's leadership has failed to maintain unity and continues to fail the American people. This crisis has further exposed the deep divisions within the GOP party. And as though things weren't crazy enough, enter former President Donald Trump.
If President Trump were to jump in as Speaker for this last year of this horrific regime known as the Biden administration and had to call votes on bills, could you imagine what would get done? That's number one. Number two, it's free press for a year. He doesn't have to pay for advertising for his campaign. They'll cover him every day on the House floor. And number three, doesn't the Speaker, Marjorie, usually have to communicate and negotiate things with the sitting president? Could you imagine that meeting on camera?
That's right. And that would be all. Those are all the reasons that I absolutely love it. But I mostly love his policies, Dan. And so does the entire country. The entire country is supporting President Trump. He's beating Joe Biden poll after poll for the general election. He's winning the primary so overwhelmingly. The primary should be over and every single candidate should drop out and apologize.
McCarthy's rise to Speaker was fueled by people like Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene. However, these same people were quick to abandon McCarthy at the first sign of adversity. It's a stark reminder of the consequences of aligning with the divisive figures like the former president. Republicans like Marjorie Taylor Greene have even floated the idea of Trump as Speaker, despite the fact that a little-known GOP party rule states a member of the Republican leadership shall step aside if indicted for a felony for which a sentence of 2 or more years imprisonment may be imposed. Donald Trump, of course, faces a total of 91 charges across 4 criminal cases and up to 712 years behind bars if convicted. But none of that means anything to people like MTG and Trump. This is just one more chance to have their face in the news and drive the wedge deeper between traditional conservatives and the far right wing. Selecting a speaker who can unify Republicans has proven to be a Herculean task. With multiple contenders and no clear direction, the GOP's inability to make decisive choices is readily apparent. This, of course, has been exacerbated by people like Matt Gaetz, who now faces calls from his own party to have him removed from Congress.
But instead, these people have got to go home and cry for a week? They've got to go do a week of hand-wringing and bedwetting over the fact that Kevin McCarthy isn't speaker anymore? This institution is about more than one man.
Your response?
He's pathetic. I mean, let's face it. You can't go on like that. Why are we shut down? Because of his antics and because of what he did. He knows damn well when you strip the speaker of his duties, then we're powerless to move forward. We have the bills that he's talking about all stacked up. We've had them stacked up since the end of July.
Should he and the other 7 be kicked out of the conference?
Well, I don't see how they can really be part of a conference when they they come on the inside, listen to what's going on, and go outside and lob bombs in the middle.
Sounds like that's a yes.
Yeah, well, I think it's again, I'm one of those who's a ground up thing, so I think it's important that everybody have an opportunity to take in what's happening and then make a collective decision when we get back. But if it was up to me, I'd vote for it.
It's important to note that this turmoil isn't just political theater, it impacts the American people. And while polls show trust in Republicans to handle major issues, the party's infighting distracts from critical matters. And this shows a clear disconnect between the American people and what is going on in Congress. In the age of Donald Trump, the Republican Party has become a source of instability, both in America and on the global stage. This chaos highlights the consequences of indulging conspiracy theorists and false populists. So in conclusion, the ouster of Speaker Kevin McCarthy reveals a Republican leadership crisis, and the blame rests firmly with the party that allowed figures like Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene to make a mockery of their principles. So as we navigate these turbulent political waters, Republicans must ask themselves, what will it take to heal the divide created by these divisive figures that care not for the American people, but for themselves and the power that they obsess over?
Chair declares the House in recess, subject to the call of the chair.
Thank you for joining us on Progressive Matters. And remember, folks, get educated and get out and vote. Thanks a lot for watching my video. If you liked it, hit that like and subscribe. If you'd like to join the Ginger Army and help support me for only $3 a month, you get to support a soulless ginger. You also get access to the Tantrum Trump and Prison Trump emojis. And don't forget to join me every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific for our live stream with yours truly. Thanks a lot, guys. Love you. Appreciate you. Stay safe out there.